What is the noise at my house, and is it normal for parrots to just go rah, 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 rah? Hi, I'm Kaylin, the author of The Parrot Wisdom. In this video, I've got my golden conure, Binks, and I, and we are going to talk to you about something very interesting about parrots. I had someone ask me in the comments on YouTube, what is going on with the noise in my house? She was saying that there's this one noise, this one parrot sound. She thinks it's an Amazon. I think it's my Hans macaw. It's just kind of going and going. Well, there's a couple of things that I think we have to take into account here. Number one, parrots are noisy. Amazons are notorious for being noisy. Maybe not as bad as cockatoos, but they are. They're pretty darn noisy. The other thing that's going on is that parrots are wise, just like other creatures. And they know, and I swear they know when I'm making a video, because they stop doing tricks, they stop talking, and sometimes they compete with me. They compete to be heard. I'm talking, so they try to talk bigger and louder. So it's possible, seriously, that the noise is just because I'm making a video. I kid you not. When I stop making my videos, my house usually quiets down. I kid you not. It's crazy. But there's something else that I think is really important to consider and to keep in mind if you have parrots, and that is the following. Parrots, as you probably know, are very social creatures. In the wild, I've heard of them living in flocks from 20 to like 1,000 parrots. Now, they have one mate that they tend to connect with, bond with, be with, but they're always in a flock. There's safety in numbers, there's security in numbers, there's wisdom, probably as to which way should we go for food. And when the flock, when you have several members, maybe even 50 members going in different directions, someone's going to say, hey, I found food over here, come on over. Having that real flock makes a difference, that tribe, that connection. Now, what happens on the other hand if you take that out and you just have one lonely parrot? Well, I am a very big believer in having at least two of every species, and I tried to find Binks a mate. No luck so far, because the only babies we found were male, but we'll get there. I'm a big believer in it because I think it's really important. Not only are parrots social, so that then they have someone in their cage that they're very happy with, they're very comfortable with, but on top of that, they have someone who, in my observations of my flock, they will bond with and they will connect with in a way that is different than they can bond or connect with other parrots. My macaws, for example, they don't connect with any other birds the way they connect with each other. And initially I only had one macaw, and she just didn't really actually connect with any of the other birds. I've seen some amazing videos and some amazing photographs in which parrots really bond with people or another parrot of another species. So I'm not saying that it's impossible or anything like that. I'm saying that generally speaking, if you have a parrot either by itself or as its own species, I think that there are some psychological needs that are going to be in deficit. Just like, if all of your friends were taken away, if your family was taken away, and all of a sudden you were the only human amongst a flock of parrots or amongst any other group of animals, you would probably have a hard time. One of the things that very likely would happen, which I think I really observe happening to parrots, is you lose your identity. So one of my parrots is a Hans macaw. Her name is Emerald. Emerald was brought to us last year for a while because her owner just couldn't take her. His wife was really sick, and so it was just too much for him to handle. She couldn't take the noise, and he was having to work and then come home and take care of her, and there's really no ability to take care of a parrot at that point. When they were ready, they took her back, but then they just recently were like, okay, you know what, we just can't do it, we're done. And that's okay. I mean, if you can't do it and Emerald wasn't happy, there are times when the best thing to do is to rehome a parrot. So for right now, Emerald's with us, and Emerald is a parrot that was adopted as a young baby. She was hand-fed, and she went straight into a home with humans and has never really been around other birds until she got to my house, or been around another Hans macaw. Unfortunately, I don't have a Hans macaw, so she's the only one of her species. Now, Emerald does try to hang out actually with our Amazon, and clearly she feels comfortable, and it kind of creates a little flock for her. But there's no physical touch, there's no interaction, and it's not fulfilling her needs. Therefore, Emerald is a bit of a lost soul. I think her best hope at becoming unlost is really to have another Hans macaw. For the reasons that are set up, things being what they are right now, there's no Hans macaw available for her right now, so because of that, she does get vocal, and there are times when all we hear from her is wah wah, wah wah, over and over and over. Why? She's, I think, in emotional or psychological pain. I think that she has lost some of her sense of self, and that's some of the pain of being a little lost. I also think that a lot of us humans can relate to that. It's not uncommon for some of us to go through a period in our lives where we're like a little lost soul. It's not uncommon for us to have a hard time. Typically said, generally speaking, in our 20s or, as a teenager, you're lost and you have to find yourself. You have to figure out who you are. People say that kind of thing. Well, that wouldn't be true of parrots, except when you put them in a situation where they're all by themselves and they're sort of discouraged from being a parrot, right? They're discouraged from being loud. If they're clipped, they're discouraged from flying. All sorts of things like that that are going to make it very difficult for them to have their parrotness. So one of the most important things, I think, is for a parrot to have its parrotness. And one of the ways that I do that is by always trying to have, like I said, at least 2 of every species. People say that then they won't bond with you. I just haven't found that to be true. I find that if you spend time with them, it's twice as much fun because you have 2 of them. And if you don't spend time with them, if you have other things going on, you work or you're in school or whatever it is, then they do have still at least a mate to have a tribe with kind of thing, to have their flock. And it helps them retain their parrotness, and it helps them retain some psychological well-being. And that is going to help your parrot be blissful and you be blissful, because then you're going to enjoy your parrot more and they're less likely to wah wah. If you have any questions or comments about parrots, anything you want us to talk about, please be sure to comment below or post to us on Messenger in Facebook under Parrot Bliss. Thanks for joining Binks and I. My Binks, who is starting to get a little wild. He's ready to fly some. We'll see you next time.